Welcome to Last Week in Warframe, a series where I keep you updated on the past week of Warframe, from announcements made by DE that don't necessarily warrant their own videos to community fan art posts and updates. So, without further ado, let's go over these announcements and news from the 16th to the 22nd of June. Starting this week's episode off on PC, we did have update 25.2, which did bring the Wukong Rework. His health has been increased to 150, his shields to 100. His energy has also gone up to 120, and his sprint speed is now at 1. His passive has also been replaced with 5 levels of immortality. This allows him to revive himself 3 times in a mission if he takes fatal damage. It will activate instantly and it will roll from the following 5 perks. You'll also get 2 seconds of invulnerability, and it will restore 50% of your health on top of rolling one of the aforementioned 5 buffs. Those being Primal Forces, which triples elemental damage for 60 seconds, Heavenly Cloak that makes him invisible for 30 seconds, Cosmic Armor that makes him invulnerable for 30 seconds, Monkey Luck that provides extra loot drops for 60 seconds, and Sly Alchemy that makes orbs 4 times more effective for 60 seconds. His first ability, Iron Jab, has been replaced with Celestial Twin, which allows him to duplicate himself, and then a clone of himself will act like a Spectre. It'll run around and use whatever weapon you aren't using, so if you're using your primary or secondary, it will use its melee, and vice versa. They've also made it so you can command the clone to attack a specific target, which will deal extra damage. The clone will also remain until it dies, or until you hold down the Celestial Twin cast button and he despawns. The second ability, Cloudwalker, has stayed the same, but it has been significantly improved. Its speed has been increased, but its duration reduced, since it is a trade-off. His movement can be interrupted by attacking at any time, and you can also heal yourself and the Celestial Twin. Wukong will no longer trigger laser traps or doors while using Cloudwalker as well, and its energy cost has been reduced. For Defy, it is no longer the Immortal ability. It has been replaced by a Taunt ability that will absorb any incoming damage and then reflect that back at the enemies. You will be invulnerable for a short duration, but at the end of the ability cast, you will get extra armor, based on how much of the damage you have absorbed. And you can also press the button again to spin early. The fourth ability, Primal Fury, has been completely streamlined and uses the Melee 3.0 combo system, which is basically move forward, you'll do a different attack to that of standing still, etc. Damage for Wukong and his clone is also redistributed for a more powerful feel, with a much higher status chance, larger base range, and some slash. On top of that, his range is at max, so previously you had to build up his staff range based on your combo meter. That is no longer the case. For his augments, the Iron Jab augment once again has been replaced with a Celestial Twin augment, which makes it so you can now command Wukong to perform a wide radius slam, which will then suspend nearby enemies. Primal Rage is exactly the same, just with some stat differences. So they have increased the critical chance to 150%, but your bonus per kill is up to 15%. The drain will also scale with duration, but if you get a kill, the drain will stop for 5 seconds. Also in this update was a UI addition that made it so ability augment stats can be displayed by hovering over the ability icons of Excalibur, Mag, Volt, and Wukong. It only applies to these 4 Warframes at the moment, but more will be coming in the future. For the changes, they just made a bunch of micro-optimizations and improved a number of systems, nothing of importance. For the fixes, they are up on your screen, but now we go to Hotfix 25.2.1, where they made a number of fixes to Wukong's new kit, but they changed one thing, which was making sure the Stalker can cancel Celestial Twin. For the changes, they adjusted the gunblade holster position on Wisp for the Sarpa, and they removed the plus from the Amalgam Argonac Metal Organ mod. For the fixes, once again, up on your screen. Hotfix 25.2.2 followed the same process, making fixes towards Wukong, but one major change came, and that was making it so Celestial Twin won't be disabled if you enter a Nullifier bubble. It will remain active so long as it doesn't go in it. If it does go in it, its health will start to drain down up until the point where it dies. so a nice little buff to Celestial Twin there. They've also made it so vaulted relics that you do not own won't show up in the Relic Manager screen. Only relics that you do not own but are accessible in the current drop tables will show. For PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch, you also have an update in certification, which once again is update 25.2. You will get all the changes just mentioned with the exception of the 2 hotfixes, but you will also get a Tennogen bundle attached to it, which will get you the Frost Ion skin, the Korra Mithra skin, the Valkyria Leonosa skin, Valkyria Mithra, and Wukong Mithra skins. More information about your update, because I am not a console channel but I will notify you of any updates or changes coming to the platform, are in the description down below, so you can read it on the forum post. Once again, for those wondering on console when you'll be able to get the Fae Path Ephemera, you will have to keep on waiting. DE Danielle said the following in response to a player asking that question. Still in progress, it requires extra consideration for all platforms. With Tennogen around the corner, we will be updating you after things have settled down with that. Thank you for the patience. For Nintendo Switch players, there is currently a Switch Summer Platinum sale. It runs up until the 28th of June, and you'll be able to get up to 50% off Platinum on the platform. If you were interested in the contest that was running previously, which was the Sentient Destruction Guide contest, the winners have been announced. They are up on your screen if you are interested. All links to the post in the description in case you want to go and see what exactly they made. For developer Twitter posts, there were 3. The first came from DE Rebecca, where a player was asking if slam attacks could be looked at with the melee system rework. And Rebecca did reply, it is a part of the bigger rework. The next tweet came from DE Connor, where he announced that the drop table link has been cleaned up, so it is now just warframe.com/drop tables instead of what it was previously, which was just a long string of numbers and text. The last tweet was a tweet chain, and it was between another Warframe partner, Shul, and DE Marcus. The initial tweet was from Shul, where he said, I hate to be any sort of negative towards Warframe, but how is this any sort of elite? Why is Nightwave and everything else involving Warframe getting so dumbed down as of late? You took a great foundation with Season 1 of Nightwave and completely crumbled it with this direction. Which, of course, as you can see on your screen, shows the Nightwave Act, complete a defense mission reaching at least Wave 20, where DE Marcus replied, any system requires balancing. What looks like degrindification may look dumbed down for others. Balance requires changes in both directions. Keep in mind, this is only an intermission. Where Shul replied, it just really scares me is all. It seems like within the past year, every piece of content that has been released has been heavily tuned down due to people complaining that they have to put effort into the game. The biggest 2 I've noticed were Elite, Sanctuary Onslaught, and now Nightwave. Where DE Marcus replied once again, I totally hear you, man. We are always working on trying to strike the right balance. It's part of why we recently had our first leaderboard event in 2 years that required an endurance run. And that did end the tweet chain, but of course others shared on that thread. So if you do want to read everything that was on that post, once again, everything that I mentioned here today is linked in the description. Anyway, that concludes this episode of Last Week in Warframe. If you found the video informative, make sure to leave a like. If you think I can improve upon the series in any way, shape, or form without suggesting that I should share my own opinions, let me know in the comments section down below. Now, if you do want a glyph code, they are up on your screen for each of the respected platforms. If someone has already used them, you cannot use it. It's a single-use code. If it's already been redeemed, it's now expired. Simple as that. If you missed out on last week's episode, make sure to click the annotation on the screen right now. It'll take you right to it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.